Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously... What happened last time? We went to places, spoke to people, and learned things. This time, we've went to Mail Strongheart's office, the Lord Chief Justice of London, and Susato was just wrapping up a conversation with him. Apparently, Susato needs to go back to Japan, and presumably that means Ryunosuke too, so we need to figure out what the hell's going on here. Let's get to it. Susato, what's all this about?
Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan.
Oh.
Your life here can continue just as...
That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving?
It's my father. He's fallen ill.
Oh. I had a feeling it would be something to do with her father, but I was thinking more like he was summoning her back, but... He's fallen ill.
Oh no!
Professor Mikotoba? If I may? Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news.
10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. And it seems he grows weaker day by day.
I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely.
I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning.
I can't believe this is happening. Huh. How weird. Something about this doesn't sit right with me. There's gotta be something more going on here. Surely this isn't just the writers going like, okay, we gotta have some excuse to have Iris or Herlock on the stand alongside Ryunosuke during the trials. What can Susato do instead? I don't want to say she's being written out of this entire story. Like, the day will transition, we'll go to court, and we'll have never see Susato again for the rest of the game until maybe the credits or like the ending. No, I don't want to believe that's going to be true. So I'm wondering what's going to make her stay instead. Huh. This is weird.
So Gina has been charged. She'll have to appear in court.
Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow.
No, not even 24 hours later?
Gina. Ah, the Lefraud girl and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too conspicuous case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is, without wasting time on these open and shut cases.
It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that.
Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart? In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave, now.
Of course, Lord Strongheart.
Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend.
Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday.
It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. "3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me."
There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart.
Which is?
It's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her.
A timely suggestion.
Sorry?
The girl currently has no representation.
But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial.
Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork and the defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right.
Why would she do that?
A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. You'll find her at the local prison.
Yes, thank you.
Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. I feel like I was supposed to go here first.
What a day. Gina, charged with murder. Susato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie... You're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. It's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer.
God, you hear the noise of the gears? I don't know how I could work in an environment like this. It's so noisy. Imagine being at that desk, swamped with paperwork, and that droning of the gears is going on around you constantly. And what happens when the bell goes off, huh? Anyway, maybe with Susato with us, we can sway Gina's mind.
Ah, hello again, Gina. What are you lot here for now? To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. Huh. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition into that thing, don't I? Look, you can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Huh? Farewell? Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it'll be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What? It's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Huh? Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be.
Damn!
What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't.
Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted. The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about?
Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe.
Will you tell us about it now? Well.
Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand.
And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff.
I knew it.
What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing, and then I heard a loud thud, like someone falling on the floor.
And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you.
Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man.
I can't help but notice that there's no dagger in his gut right now.
There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at my hands, I had the cove's blood all over him. I was so scared I couldn't even speak.
You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight.
Then Mr. McGilden started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were, and why you were hiding under the seat? Yeah, he did, only that's not all.
What do you mean?
I mean, he threatened me.
Threatened you how?
He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard, and about what he was going to do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarp it before the coppers showed up.
Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. Oh boy, okay, here we go. You said McGilden made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch-black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you?
Yes, with Mr. McGilden sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove hitting the floor. Let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGilden heard that and dragged me out by my arm. That's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed. A disc all bright and shiny. A disc?
Do you mean...
Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took off me at Windibank's.
So the music box disc was there on the floor of the omnibus?
Not for long. McGilden spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it in his inside pocket.
So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder.
And the bog trotter told me I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Because it was so dark under the seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin.
Presumably that was Mr. McGilden getting on board.
Nah, not only him.
Oh,
Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilden and the victim.
Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason.
In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilden claimed he slept during the carriage ride.
But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it.
And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time and had low voices.
What? What were they talking about?
Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses on the wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilden and the victim knew each other.
So McGilden was lying, as I suspected.
I knew it weren't gonna take long before someone raised the alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilden told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The 2 coves from up top ran off to get the coppers.
Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First.
Right. And after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favor.
A favor?
Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas.
Oof.
A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yup, you got it. It was Windibank's. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. McGill had opened the box under the seat, let me get out of there, but not without a condition. I see.
And these conditions? What were McGilded's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean.
Not telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well.
There's more?
Yeah, this is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye. The fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. And I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right. And I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang it onto it until then. Is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. All right then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windibank so it is, and you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited and any old fiend could come along and buy it. Huh? But I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me... Yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye. And they'll come asking me to take you to the stand in court to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say, and what it is that you won't? After he'd gone over it all, I piked it, got as far away from there as I could. He hid it with the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGill had planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it so we wouldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man! He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would have... In a heartbeat. He could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where would we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice.
Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything.
But I'm in for it now, eh? Go on, admit it, you must be livid.
Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor.
A favor? What?
Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial.
Huh?
If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us.
Investigate what?
The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see.
You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right?
That's why I want to investigate. For Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything.
Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it?
Something like that. Miss Usato?
Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely.
Nice, we got it! Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windibanks now.
Yes, and perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done there.
I feel like we've finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windibanks. Although, something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. Well, he can just suck it up. To be continued. Well, that was nice. Dang, and to think there was actually a time where I actually thought that Magnus McGilded was a good person and innocent. So I can only surmise, actually, the reason McGilded killed Mason was because Mason was the one in possession of the disc. That raises 20 questions at least. And I don't know how to answer a single one of them, so let's just see what we can find here. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face, see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers.
Your ladyship! How?
I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little regabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
Glug. Glug, glug, glug.
Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now.
Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then? Do as you please. You know where it happened, through that door behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. Oh? That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, Sunshine.
Come then, let us not waste any time.
Alright then, let's look around. Can we at long last look at the rest of this now? I think we looked at this and didn't look at anything to the left of it, so... The police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the Yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts.
Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely.
We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure, and even then we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime in a pawnbroker's. Must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know, a crime in a pawnbroker's. Rip.
These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy.
Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example?
Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Runo?
Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them, even that horse statue.
That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever.
Now this will be good. Oh! There's the article ledger here, and Mr. Windbank's notes, and... Huh? What's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. That's not just any print. That is an exact duplicate of the one we have.
Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie, show us.
A bloody fingerprint. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th of April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clearly it was a very fine coat in fact, I think.
Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday.
And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand.
This one's in color. Wait. No, I'm pretty sure the other one's in color, too. This photograph of a cat. It looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier.
Of course. I was forgetting that she gave us that print.
Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out.
Alright, let the cogs turn. Oh. No, they're not the same. The cat's face is slightly different, I think. The one on the left is looking more towards its right, while the one on the right is looking straight ahead, directly towards the camera. I also want to say the one on the left also has its head raised a little as well. Other than that, I don't spy any difference.
I've got it!
Me too. You put this in that machine over on the right.
These two photographs hide an amazing secret.
A secret? What does she mean?
You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really want to know?
Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter, and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints?
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry?
If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
They're not?
Have another look at them now.
Actually, I want to see if I can't cross my eyes on my own here. Let me see here. Okay, look at my nose. Okay, well, I can cross my eyes well and make the screen very blurry, but I can't quite merge those two photos. Never mind.
Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other?
I think so. It's very subtle, though.
But what's the reason for this subtle difference between the two prints? Well, it's because they're set, you see.
No, I don't.
This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment.
Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently?
Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Shum showed us yesterday. You see, there it is, just over there.
Ah, yes, of course, that magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
What? Really?
Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, wonderful! Then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene.
I, for one, simply have to know. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us?
Well, I just opened them, and it works.
But the reason it works is because we have two eyes.
2 eyes? Shocking.
If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye, and what you see with your right eye, are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see.
My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me.
Oh, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick.
So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints.
Yes, Runo, you're beginning to understand.
The stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that.
Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all.
You can, really.
Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go.
Susato-san really loves this kind of thing.
You need to be able to cross your eyes, and that's the main thing. Can you both do that?
Cross my eyes? I think I can.
Watch me and see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? There, how's that? Wonderful, now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time.
Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed.
Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Runo.
I'm just going to have to give it a try, I suppose.
Did the print split into two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then should try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center. Oh yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day.
I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt.
Your turn, Runo. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle.
Boy, this sequence is going on a long time. Like this, is it?
There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo?
They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly.
No, some people find it easier than others. That's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press the little knob there. Then set the pair of photographs in this stand at the back and...
It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now.
Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these fold-in contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently.
Oh, my voice is starting to go. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them.
But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case.
Stereoscopic pictures? I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. Huh. Well, the fact that the game went to such hilariously over-the-top lengths to make sure I understood exactly how it works tells me that it's going to be the critical key to this case. Oh, bother. That ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it? Must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn.
It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me.
But clearly Mr. Windibank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. When Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again.
Oh yes, that's a folding stereoscope.
Really? This is a stereoscope? Oh, I was meant to see this way before. Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there.
Ah, well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself.
I wonder if I could make money out of these in Japan. It would beat keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. Huh? Oh, look here! It looks like... Is that a bullet?
Oh, yes, a bullet hole.
Oh, I guess it is a bullet.
And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall.
Presumably Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time.
Oh, well... Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that.
I'm sorry, he's British, not American. Sorry?
It's all there in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime.
He doesn't do it often? He shouldn't even do it once!
Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine the bullet.
What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar.
Aha! I may well be able to help with that.
What?
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo?
Iris, you're 10 years old. You're too young to be a psychopath. Ugh. I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris.
I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes, what a scientific observation.
So you need this.
Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing?
Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch.
Oh, the color of the bloodstain has changed. No, it did not.
There, does it make sense now?
Yes, I think I'm starting to understand.
Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see? Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great.
So, whose blood are we looking at then?
Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to in a flash.
Well, maybe if Winterbank's body's still there. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it?
1 flash or 2, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So you must make a note of it in the court record.
Thank you. Perfect.
Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have Regent left, sure.
Let's take a closer look.
Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here.
I have noticed.
The red smear, you mean?
Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case...
Yes, we need Iris.
We should show this to her before we forget. Ah. I suppose the, cat picture isn't very relevant. This is the ticket that Gina brought in here yesterday.
Yes, having been entrusted to her by Mr. McGilded 2 months earlier. Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat.
And the other redemption ticket was in the pocket of that coat.
Yes, for a small box deposited 2 days before the omnibus incident.
Could that have anything to do with all this? Oh, wow. Look at that info in the top right. Unknown person, but we got location and color. Oh, we're gonna be looking at a lot of different blood stains. Oh, that's cool. Yo. That's pretty hype, actually. Anyway, please look at this blood.
Oh, that looks like blood.
I would say it's from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather.
Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me.
Purple? That's the color I'd bleed. Look at that.
Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point.
Well, this particular stain of blood...
Oh, you have an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is?
No idea. How could I? We don't have a known sample of the same color. Without that, it's impossible to know.
Oh, how very vexing. I wonder.
What?
Well, it's true that the color doesn't help us. But what about considering how the mark came to be there in the first place? You might have an idea about that, mightn't you, Runo?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Not if you keep staring at me like that, no.
Let's try that again, shall we?
Well, this particular stain of blood...
Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is?
Okay, let's see here. Maybe it's Windabank? Yes, I have an idea of whose blood that is. Not from the color returned, but with a little deduction.
That's right. I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well. You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to?
Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Pop? Oh, his first name is Pop Windabank? Huh.
You think somehow it could be Mr. Windabank's blood?
Well, he would have been the last person to have handled the ticket. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one.
But Mr. Windabank had no injuries. Before he was shot, that is. We're trying to work out who the blood came from. So we can rule out anyone who hadn't been bleeding straight away.
Oh, it's Mason then. Yes, of course.
Perhaps it's not a concept you can really grasp unless you've bled before yourself.
Funnily enough, I have accidentally cut myself before, but thanks for the mildly threatening advice, Iris. I have to think this through some more. Who do we know was bleeding at the time? Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Thrice-fired Mason. Thrice-fired Mason?
You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there.
Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course I never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice-fired, though.
The victim? Of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago.
Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windabank's yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. Oh right, it's the one hidden in the bushes, duh.
So it's a smear of blood from that time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand.
It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason.
Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes.
Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. About that.
Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well. Let's make a note of this.
Huh. Well, we have green and purple. I suppose that's 5 more colors of the rainbow left to go. Gotta collect them all. Well, actually, if you can assume that it won't be a red color because it'll always change the color of the blood, then maybe it's just 4 more colors to go. That's nice. Well, right. I suppose next time we'll have to... Yes, I suppose we'll have to examine this door in order to move ahead. Yeah. Well, absolute shame that it seems that the dialogue for looking at stuff behind the counter here and these shovel spades permanently lost to me. Curse my knack for finding the critical path before cutting off all loose ends first. Ugh. Wait, I need to look at this too. Hold on. I don't think I looked at that.
That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo?
Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan.
Oh, well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound?
It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks.
Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word.
Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Alright. Oh boy. I had the right measure of it. This case here is absolutely pulling from everything. Events going on back home in Japan, McGilded, Mason and Gina. Oof. Well, I suspect that we'll investigate the back room there. Then we might go see Herlock Sholmes after a surgery, presumably. And maybe one more visit to Gina. And after that, I'm thinking that I might be thinking that this investigation phase might be over very soon. Probably not by the time that the next video finishes, but probably early on in the one after that. Although, I am wondering, I know I just looked around a lot, but is there anything I can do to look at any cameras on display? Like the one that's hanging over here looking at the desk? Yeah, the security camera that takes a photo every 30 minutes. I need to figure out what the hell that is. Well, no. You know what? The fact that I can't look at it and glean the info myself probably means that we can count on Van Zeeks doing that work for us in the trial. Well, I'm glad that good old tsundere, Gina Lestrade, opened up to us at long last. Hopefully she'll be fully cooperative moving forward. After all, I imagine we'll be cross-examining her at some point during the trial as well. But boy, all this talk of McGilded, you would think he's the mastermind, but he's apparently supposed to be dead, caught in that carriage fire in the middle of the courtroom. I mean, it's completely possible he may have faked his death, but in that case, who was the actual person who was in that carriage? We saw the cutscene. There was someone in there or something that was rattling around there, knocking the carriage to and fro during the fire, so I just don't know. Okay, time for a random ass theory. Just a random theory. Just completely shooting to the wind. What if Giselle Brett, from the start of the game, that woman who got off scot-free for her murder of Dr. Wilson, what if she's Magnus McGilded's wife? What if she stood to greatly benefit from McGilded dying? Like, if McGilded died, all his assets would go to her, she'd become super rich. And maybe in going through his things, she might have discovered some sort of journal or some information from some accomplice about this precious record, and she wants the record now, and now she's the mastermind. I mean, it would be great. Giselle Brett was the one who got away, and what's more, actually serving justice upon her, maybe for another crime, but just to finally get her for killing Iris's own father. That'd be pretty huge. Yeah, okay. Maybe Giselle Brett doesn't have to be McGilded's wife, necessarily. But she could figure into this story. I could absolutely see her coming back to this. And boy, there's still that matter with Susato to worry about. Is she really going to leave for Japan? Like, it's a 50-day voyage. I mean, if she does leave, that's it. Goodbye. See you in the next game. I just don't know. Well, only time will tell what happens next. Boy, I suppose my new theory about Giselle Brett being the mastermind might fly in complete contradiction to my earlier theory that it was Male Strongheart, who... Okay, let's face it, at this point in the game, if Male Strongheart is unrelated to this, he's a complete nothing character. Completely lame, barely any purpose to him besides... Like, it could have very well have been a faceless accountant that was spoken to where they had to get authentication for lawyering. No, clearly Strongheart is related somehow. Clearly. Giselle Brett might also be, maybe. But yes, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.